Mutilal, do you want to do the introduction?
Go
ahead, Nagusham.
Okay.
Feeling a little thing in my throat today.
All right. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Poetry and Prose. It's the 3rd of March, 2024, and we have an exciting program planned for you. This session is our Author of the Month session. And we have Mr. Wildman. He's our Author of the Month. And this month, we're changing it up a bit. Instead of having a regular member do the interview, we have Diane, and she will be interviewing. So thank you for coming out, and I will hand it over to her. Diane, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Gersha. And I want to say thank you to Mr. Budusing for giving us the opportunity to be here today to have this interview, because I think it's a void in our society that we don't think that elder people need to be social and to be interactive. And this is very much filling a void that we do appreciate being here and having this interview. And as you all know, this is For the Love of Uji. That's the name of the book. And it's really, I mean, he's not the author, he's the publisher, really. He published the book, but he published some love letters that he got from his wife from 1967 to 1962 to 1970. So I would like to start by saying that love is a need that every human being has. And this is more about romantic love. But if you think of it, that love is a mutual growth, support, respect, and understanding that we have for each other. And Maya Angelou says, love recognizes no barriers. And today we're talking about a love story that goes beyond. One has departed and the other one is here. So we are talking that love goes beyond the spiritual realms and it continues for life. So I want to talk to Mr. Wildman here, my uncle, because he's married to my aunt, my mom's sister, and how it came about that you decided to publish your love letters. Her love letters, sorry, not yours.
Yeah, it's been a very, very good question you asked me there. Ever since my dear wife wrote me her first letter in September 1962, believe it or not, I kept every one of her letters that she ever wrote to me. I kept everyone. And as the years go by, as years went by, came home, I always wondered, why do I have these letters up to the end of 1969? I always wondered why I had all these letters. Well, it happened, I kept these letters because of her untimely passing. When she passed, I realized that there was a reason why I kept these letters. Apart from reading her love letters ever so often, I published this book of her love letters because I wanted it to be a lasting legacy of what young people in our times, how they felt, what they did, and how we put it in words, in writing. We never had technology like it is today. So when you got these letters, it was really something, feeling, you have a lot of feeling in it, and you can tell whether that person is genuine or not. So I published that I want to leave a legacy so that people, when they read this book and they read the letters, they will feel something, of self, what love is supposed to be. Because, I mean, we were boyfriend and girlfriends since we were 16 years old. And we lasted until 2022. We got married in 74. So that's why I did these letters.
So you're saying that this is your version of your little Taj Mahal, your your monument of your love for her, that it's going to be everlasting in a book form.
Yes, correct. That's right.
It's going to be kept on going. And now that it's published, and as we had the launch of the book in October last year, Jesus Steakhouse, right here in Vancouver, and Simon Lee, who did the preface to the book, said, we are all, not just Uncle Errol, the whole family, we're all now part of history. How do you feel about that being documented in a book form, that your love story is there for generations to come to see? How do you feel about that?
Well, I must say, I feel very good. I think that was, like I said before, this is what I said. This is a form of legacy that will remain on. And somewhere along the line, someday after we have gone, and I said it, I wrote it also, somebody somewhere will see this book and open it up. And I'm sure that when they start to read this book, they will not stop until the last page. And they will understand what love was like in those days. Don't get me wrong, they still love wrong, but I don't think the love that we have nowadays, compares to the love of the 60s and the 50s and 70s, as well as part of the 70s.
So, well, I want to ask this question now because it was an interracial relationship.
Yes.
But
yes.
Your parents came from also an interracial relationship. So, if it was difficult for you in the 60s and the 70s, how would it have been in the 40s and the 50s for your parents?
Well, I never said this before, but believe it or not, you're so right. You hit the nail on the head. My mom and dad, they got married in 1945. And her parents, I mean, she was Indian, but she was a English Catholic. My dad was a Roman Catholic. And when my dad wanted to marry my mom, her parents were the definite no, 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 no. And I'll tell you today, I'm not ashamed to say it. My mom and my dad got married in December 1945 in a church. While the church service was going on, they were married. And when the church service was finished, the priest called them in the back and they signed the register. That's how serious that was. But they made it.
So it made it easier for you because then your parents had no opposition because they had the same background, but it was difficult for my aunt.
Well, yes. Well, again, while it might be similar, it was different from the point of view that my dear wife came from a Hindu family, a pretty staunch Hindu family. And I've been a Catholic and mixed, according to what I said. I was not a pure sort of Indian or whatever like that. But we weathered the storm. I mean, it was easy. And I think probably by her going away might have made it much, much easier than if she had stayed here and didn't go away. So going away was a good thing. Although the part about that was there were 3 years of sadness and loneliness and depression. But we worked out. It worked out.
The book is those letters for the 3 years that she was away from 62.
From 62, because people have to read from 62. I mean, we were in love, right? But she, I would say, was the first one that wrote me a letter. And when you read the book and you see what the letter says, that she loves me and she's hoping that one day it can work out. In her first letter, she said that, she loved me and one day we'll be together. And
so your letters now, what happened to your letters?
Well, when she came on the 70th holiday, and I mean, she cried and she said, boy, I'm so sorry. Because in 1968, she had told me in one of her letters that, yes, she's keeping all my letters just as how I'm keeping hers, because I told her I was keeping hers. And then she said, coming home in 17, such a rush. She couldn't have everything. And when she showed the letters, it was difficult for her to destroy it. But because of, again, the people, where she was staying by, she didn't want people to get it, to find it, to see anything and whatever, things like that. I mean, I'll be honest, I was a bit disappointed, but it didn't matter.
Family interference.
That love, well, yes, but I didn't want to see all that. But
family interference.
From my point of view, once I had hers, and she was there, and she had loved me just as I always loved her. No problem. No problem.
What do you think you want to see for your future with the book? What do you think you want to see the book go as a?
No, like I said, I did a book out of the love of my wife, and my main word for that whole book is legacy. I wanted her legacy to live on. Wherever the book may go, I have no problem. I'm good. Look, I've done the book. I've sold books on some Amazon, and believe me, I don't really look up to see how many sold or not, or if it was sold anywhere. I was just happy doing it.
The book available on Amazon.
And the book is available on Amazon.
Yes, the bookstores.
And in bookstores through Forest and San Fernando.
On the bookstore.
Yes, we have. Yes.
Scribbles and Quills.
Scribbles and Quills. We can.
But the other one,
the one in Perspective. Yeah. So the book is available. The book is available. And I'm good.
So we see the future Errol now, writing, doing a book of his own.
Well, believe it or not, Mr. Butilal got me into this. Mr. Butilal thing. I think he'll be talking to me after this. And I'm seriously thinking, you see, to motivate me to get on with my life right now, I am happy I saw Mr. Babula, Mr. Budu Singh, sorry. This might spur me on to do some writing. I'm not a big scholar writing, don't get me wrong. But I will learn, I'm willing to learn. And probably Mr. Mutula will guide me along the right path.
So I'm going to say thank you for sharing some insights into how the book came about and where we see future Errol Wildman going ahead, trying to be more social, be less grieving, because the book is a legacy of your love, it's something positive and something to look forward to. And as he's told me, that's why I'm saying thank you again, Mr. Motilal, that he wants a reason to get up every morning and get something to do. So you're filling a very big void in people's life, whether you believe it or not. This is making a very big impact. And I hope not just, you see on YouTube, so globally, that we need to look after our older people, because you think you're young now, but one day we all get there, and you need the support and the love. I'm going to say thank you very much. And back on to you, Geisha. The interview part is done, and we move on to the letter.
Thank you. That's quite interesting. I hope someone will love me that much one day to create such a legacy. I'm actually reading.
And before we I lose this thought, I asked Errol, I say, Errol, look, I knew him at work, so we used to call him Cheesy.
That's correct.
Cheesy here after. You better start writing on your own. And he promised me a story. If we do get it today, we have a regular open mic, we have our regular meetings, and I hope to have Cheesy reading something of one of his own stories in the near future. Okay, Gosha, take it away.
I have something for you, to read today. I can read it today.
Very good, Gosha. If we have time, we'll slip in Cheesy. You could always drop me.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. We have scheduled time for you to read at the end.
Yeah, correct. That's right. At the end, I can read it, yes.
But I was reading a letter to my friend, and I was telling her about the book, and this is the book. Hopefully you're seeing it.
Yeah.
Looks like it's cutting off a bit on my end.
Yes.
We were talking about the language of how like Trini twang from like the 1967 is so different.
Yeah.
A love letter would look like today, and I just thought that we were just talking about how the differences is. And I think that's a little interesting part of the culture that you are able to organically capture, because it wasn't written the way an author may think the language is at the time. That is how the language is at the time. So it's quite a bit of historical.
I think if they had to do the movie, it'll be called a period piece now.
Yes.
marketing.
Yes. And I think someone really can make a movie on it, because we were chatting and she said, this is such a common story in Trinidad of lovers being separated, because a lot of people went away for school, or they would go, to living and different areas and stuff like that. So we were
Maybe
chatting.
to get that part of it, because he does have somebody who will help him with the movie. And we could look into it, because it's interesting that maybe 10 years after they would have gotten married, that interracial marriages weren't so frowned upon in the decade after. You understand? So the hardships they went through from 60s to 70s, by the 80s, that was a common thing. You wouldn't even look twice if you saw an interracial couple.
Yeah, but how many of them lasted?
But
And the interracial marriage is one aspect, but then for me, it's the history, how Trinidadians viewed England at the time, and how she kept saying, "My darling, my darling," like it really struck to that time period of how like our mother would have been chatting, at the time romantically. All righty, so I'm going to jump. We have a loaded schedule. I was having issues earlier in bringing up the program, because the program is saved as a photo. And for some reason, it wasn't bringing it up, but I have it up now. And I would love to introduce our first reader for letter 1, Randy Black. Randy, the floor is yours.
Okay. Hi, Errol. Of course, from the moment I saw your book with you Christmas time, I understood what it was. I wanted it for my wife, to give my wife for Valentine's. So, right. Also, in this talk, I mean, I can't help but say that, my name is Randy Black, right? And the name Errol Wildman would not have helped so much in terms of the long distance thing, etc. Right? As in Wildman. What I did was I read through the letter, and then I realized it was in 1967. So I checked out like the music that was around in 1967. I don't know if I'll be able to bring it up. Just little snippets. Let me see. I did. So the Mighty Cipher was the Calypso monarch of in 1967 in Trinidad. And I just wanted to give a little tease. Last election, right? Okay. So so it was the 60s, and in England, the hits were like "All You Need Is Love" and "Come and Baby Love My Fire," "Light My Fire," and all that kind of thing. Right? Right. So okay, I'll begin to read this letter once more because I've read it before. This is in 1967, the 9th of January. My darling Errol, my trip so far has been a pleasant one, and the experience was a great one for me. I am sorry I couldn't kiss you like I did plan to, but believe me, what's in my heart, no one knows. Just keep praying that God will keep me honest and faithful until I return to you forever. Most of the people who came to see me off who were just watching to see my reaction towards you. Even Gobin and Ma were watching me. I don't know what made Gentle and the boys stay so far away, We made 3 stops on my way to London at Barbados, Antigua, and Bermuda. I've got the postcards all written out, but due to rain in Barbados, I couldn't leave the plane. I even asked the steward to post them, but she said we had to do them ourselves. Then, and at Antigua, I bought more cards, but no stamps. At Bermuda, I wasn't allowed to leave the plane, and it was past 8 p.m. already. I'll post it later on. I arrived at the hospital at 12 noon on Monday. The only time I felt upset was on my way to the hospital. I guess I was hungry, and yet when I got there, I didn't feel to eat. I drank a cup of coffee. We got tea, dinner, breakfast on the plane, but I couldn't enjoy it. I managed to keep a smiling face before I left the airport, but when the plane was about to leave, I felt like walking back to you all. The next thing, I hadn't anyone to talk with. I sat all by myself near the window, so I could have seen the people at the waving gallery, but not recognize anyone. Classes will begin on Monday, and all my mails could be sent to the above address. There's only one restriction, that we must be in the hostel before 11 p.m. We can go to any place we want and have many visitors as we like, but they cannot come up to the hostel where I'm staying. Everyone here is quite friendly, and there are a lot of West Indians at the hospital. Every now and then, someone comes to say hello and be friends, so I shan't be too lonely except waiting for you alone. When I feel happier, although we had to meet secretly. When I feel happier, I think back at the wonderful days we spent together and all the things you did for me. Couldn't make me feel happier. Maybe you might think that I'm joking, but someday I'll be able to express my love by being your wife if you have me when I return. So far, I've had no regrets with us being together, and I'll surely try my best to make you proud of me. Ma sure made your mother feel welcome home. I hope she doesn't change her attitude towards us. I'll always wear her pin as she desired, and I'll hope that she'll be my proud mother-in-law. Please let me know about the latest rumors and talks, and if they are bad ones, I hope you wouldn't take them on. Errol, take good care of yourself and don't be reckless like you told me, for I'll be looking out for the same charming and loving boy I've always known. I understand on Saturday you weren't acting like you should. Well, if you should give me cause, I'll be a different person. I remained on my bed and listened to all the heartwarming songs you all sang that night before I left. I took in your voice because I wouldn't be hearing it for a long time to come. Say hello to all at home, especially your mother who helped me dress before I left. It was nice of her and Gail to come, and also to your friends who should inquire about me. Errol, the place is very cold and the room is not heated properly. Anyway, it's quite different to what I thought it might be. The sun was out, but it's still cold. When I stand outside and speak, you can see the cold escaping. I was looking forward to see snow, but there are no signs of it. The trees are all bare. Tell me how the pictures came out. What gentle took. Well, this is my first night here, and I'm trying to make the best of everything and return as soon as possible. Don't work too hard, and remember that I'll be thinking of you, whatever you do or wherever you go. Don't worry about me. I'll do my best to survive. Now write soon and be a good boy always. Bye. Ask any questions you like. Your true love, OG.
Randy, I have the music if you want me to play it.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I could see that you all enjoy the letter as well. I enjoyed that letter, right? One of the things that I remember is I remember to see is that what makes the book significant that you may not realize, Errol, is that it's after that after this era here, where you publish the book, it's Facebook. You're not going to get letters like that again. You understand, right?
Correct.
So that is why Simon Lee, who was me and Mutila's lecturer as well, and who himself is in a relationship that requires correspondence, right? Can say it becomes part of all. That's how it becomes part of the legacy of all family in that sense, right? It's just also the timing of it, and you can hear the whole language, as Grisha pointed out, the whole language of the era it's great, and it's not just love. It's the idea of lost with the love, you know, and
That's right.
that is great. Yeah. Okay, that's it for me.
I could play a little bit, Randy, of the music you wanted to play in the beginning because I've
Okay. Okay.
I think you said it's last election, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if it comes up. Let me know if you're hearing it.
No, we're not hearing it.
Happens to be, well, at last, the people's choice. Cypher.
Are you hearing it?
How about that round of applause for?
Yeah,
Yes.
no.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not a very good quality. No, it is.
You could probably edit that in afterwards. You know.
That election had so much fun. I am one who sorry. It's done. Last election had.
Hi, were you hearing it?
Gusha, we're not hearing.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, let me try again.
So much fun. Last election had so much fun. I am one who sorry it done. Last election had so much fun. I fight one who sorry it done. I love to see how men tuning beats. Some of them hands trembling like leaf. On the roadside they'll testify. With a manifesto only packed with lie. If you hear them, we'll take away the oil field from the Yankee and divide them up between all of we. Tate and Lyle wouldn't have no claim. We'll take away the factories, also sugarcane. We'll take the animals and turn to meat. Horse hoof and cow heel would be very sweet. After all these things have been said, they stone down the candidate with rotten egg.
Okay, I'm gonna stop there.
I think what Randy wanted to emphasize, because we was having a little discussion before, you know, that what OG was telling him to behave yourself. Even the priest could play "Who Is Me." So I think that was the message that Randy wanted to emphasize. But let's move along. Okay, Gush. So let me introduce the other reader. The next reader we have is Shahira Ali. Shahira, are you there?
Hey, yes, I am. Just my camera is not on today.
Okay, Shahira, we'll just read in your usual wonderful voice. You go ahead, please.
Just so let me find back my piece. Right. Let me see. Do I have to read this stuff on the side, like Whittington Hospital stuff?
No.
Okay. Hello, darling. I just came off duty, but I'm not feeling very well. I don't feel to do anything. What's making things worse that I have to pack all over again and move over to the new nurse's home by Saturday. Most of my friends live there, but it's my room. It's way up on the fourth floor, and we don't get to use the lift. Your mother thinks I'm getting fat, but pretty soon I'll be melted. I hope. It's nice to know that your friends are still living in hopes of attending our wedding, which I hope will be fulfilled one day. I often wonder what the other inquisitive people have to say. Seems that you and Mohan are getting along fine these days. I know he had his moods. Also, he's got some problem on his mind. Do you all exchange ideas on your love life? Seeing the position you both are in, I often wonder. It doesn't matter if he sees my letters because he never tells me anything. Well, the weather isn't too bad these days, but still cold. Sometimes when I wake up at 6 a.m. to go on duty, I often wonder if I'm late because it's very bright outside, like moonlight night. I'll continue to be bright until around 9 p.m. in the night. If only you could be here, then I won't be so lonely. I go out off and on, but all I think about is if you were here. I have lots of opportunities to go out, but when I think that I wouldn't enjoy myself, I prefer to remain behind. You might say that I'm rather foolish, but it's the way in which I was brought up. Right now, I have the privilege to do so as I like, but I can't bring myself to it. You know, I wasn't going to take any chances, but with you, I will be secure, knowing I would rely on you. So far, every West Indian I met says how much they prefer their own boys to these foreigners. But I don't know how many to believe. Anyway, honey, let's hope that we'll see our way through because I still love you, even though we are many, many miles apart. About the watch, I'm looking around for a pretty one. Has seen quite a few, but the face isn't round but square. And I don't know how big it must be. You could let me know so that by the end of the month, I'll try to send it. Maybe you would like to send any information concerning it, so I'll try to find one of your choice. I know you're not saying anything about my picture because I did promise you them when I was at home, but never came around to fulfilling it. Anyway, I hope you'll be able to send me one of yourself by the car. Over here, the dancers are more of the Irish type and ballroom dancing, which I don't really fancy. I have also seen the girls during the Jamaican ska and their dances. At the hospital, We get free tickets to go to shows and dances, but I haven't been to one as yet. I can't dance, but I always try to. Honey, I'm always trying my best not to let the weather get me down, but I just can't help it. Even with my friends, it's the same. I'm not working too hard, but some of these old patients really send you mad. You have to keep yelling after them like little children. When did you last hear from her, Hyacinth? I wrote her some time ago, but she hasn't replied, so I never bothered to write either. Well, my dear, that's all for now. Give my regards to the others. Keep well and enjoy yourself. Until, love you, OG.
Happy to.
Thank you for sharing, Shahira. That was a lovely read.
Thank you.
Another thing throughout the book, I noticed that she mentioned different songs that was playing and things like that as well. So it's not just one song that was playing. Throughout the book, she did mention different songs that was playing. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce the next reader. Vilma will be reading letter 3 for us.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Vilma, the floor is yours.
Hello, you all hearing me?
Yes,
Yes, we are.
Okay, we were having a real problem getting connected. I'm sorry. Okay, so Cheesy 3. Hello, darling. Were you worried? I certainly hope not. Sorry, but I wasn't in the writing mood, so I hope a little strain didn't hurt. Well, I received both your letters, and I was rather anxious to see what was inside the FedChem one. After all, I wasn't disappointed because I really enjoy reading your wonderful letters. In fact, they keep on the go most of the times when I feel under the weather, as we all tend to get at times. Now that you are back at work, how's it going? I hope not as boring or tiresome as mine. At the moment, I'm fine, getting along okay for the time being. The weather isn't too good because it's rather cold and rainy. In fact, the winter has begun, so we foreigners have to be extra careful with our wear. I don't know what you would say when you really see me as I seem to have put on weight. It doesn't matter to me how you look at all. All I care is about your love, and I sincerely hope that you mean it when you say that you are not taking on other girls seriously. As you see, I'm still the same girl I used to be at home, plain jealous of the others, as you might tend to say. But I'll always love you and you alone. I don't expect you as a boy to sit back and let the pleasures of life pass you by. At the same time, you mustn't overdo it, even though you're born free like I am, hearing at the moment over the radio. It was nice to hear that you had such pleasant dreams of me. I myself dreamt that I was home once again and we both had wonderful times together. Strange enough, no one made any fuss over us. I wish this was really happening instead of being so far apart. About the sports jacket, I really don't like the suit jacket as I call them. And then too, it will be too warm for home. I have seen a pullover, which I think would be better than the jacket. It's similar to the anorak, except that it hasn't a collar. It might be a little too warm for you, except if the weather wasn't so too hot now. I knew it used to be cold nearer to Christmas, but I have heard how hot it has been lately. Anyhow, I'm looking for the jacket, so by next week I will let you know what I am sending. I don't want to disappoint you because it seems I can never get what you ask for. About my Christmas gift, well, I don't really know what to say because I am not in need of anything except your presence. I am not joking. Couldn't you let it be a surprise? If not, I'll make up my mind when I hear from you. Could you also let me know what you like to have? It's rather difficult when it comes to choosing gifts, and I'm not very good at it. I'm sorry to hear that your folks are not too well, but these things will happen at times. I am happy that they too appreciate my regards you give them now and again. By the way, have you ever seen my so-called sister-in-law? I know you would say that is no interest of yours, but just to hear what you think of her. Thanks for posting the papers. I see my brother still thinks of me a lot. Well, so long, honey. All my love to you. Until yours, Ogie, as usual, Sue. Bye.
Thank you for reading. And that's another theme I noticed throughout, like when I was reading it, was a little jealousy kind of coming up. And, and that's so natural and normal in those type of relationships, especially long distance.
Especially when you're far apart.
Yes.
True.
We're going to go back to Shahira for our letter 4.
Hey, let me just get it right. Here I am. Sorry to be so late, but it's because of the 2-day holidays. I have never found any of your letters boring. I am the guilty one. So would you please stop mentioning it? Cheers. Hello, love. Here's hoping that you had a lovely Easter weekend. Apart from having to work but going out to church and really enjoying yourself with your friends and relatives. Maybe you will have better news for me about the races this time. Any luck? Honey, I'm sorry about my late replies, but I can't believe you give up so easily. If so, I hate to think what will happen next. Well, to put an end to our argument, I suggest that we both reply to each other's letters as they come so that we'll have the same writing to do. Do let me know what you think, and perhaps things might be better. Darling, I guess it would be wrong for either of us to tell each other how to run our lives because we are all old enough to know what's good from bad. Even though we may make foolish mistakes like everyone else. I don't know what gave you the impression that I want to be different. I am only a normal girl wanting to be somebody. Don't you believe in me anymore? Honestly, darling, I love you. And I wouldn't go out of the way to hurt you. I sometimes go out with my friends just to present myself being social. But I don't make it a habit, as you know. Well, as you well know, I'm not used to going to a lot of parties and so on. I must say that you are quite wrong when you mention that someone might be telling me about you. I know you wouldn't believe this, but no one tells me anything, and I only write to my immediate family. Those at home, not even Mohan, because you know how funny he is, and only when you speak to Kamla, she would tell me that she spoke to you, or you said hello. Maybe I'm wrong to say all those things, but I hope it will help you overcome your doubts and whatever you may think. Right now, I'm on 4 days off after a week's night duty. You may not believe me, but I haven't been anywhere for the Easter weekend. My friends and I made a cook, and we had a get together in my room, and that was all. I thought I might get down to do some shopping and packing for my holiday, but I haven't. The weather is fine these days, and at night it's rather stuffy. I wish we could have some of the sunshine sometimes. I'm happy to hear that everyone is all right at home, and especially to hear such exciting news of you being an uncle soon. I am used to this, but I wish I could have some of my own. Don't you too? I could imagine how embarrassing it is for you when the children see you. I must blame myself for this, but they are only kids, so don't feel too badly about it. Maybe my mother has gotten over this by now. I hope. I can't say much about my sister in law because I don't know much about her. Kamala says maybe she knows about John and herself, but she couldn't care less. Maybe she thinks you're a nice boy, but I would have to tell her to mind her own business if I was around. I heard that Toy Matura will be coming up early next month. Do you think it will be possible to find out the hospital she will be going to? If you all are still good friends. Honey, I hope you won't be annoyed with me for what I've said, as I am only trying to explain things. So until I hear from you, yours always, OG. And that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed.
Thanks for reading, Shahira. At this time, I'm just gonna give a little space for anyone that has a comment or questions for the author from what we've read so far.
Well, I'm wondering, Gersha, where he got the nickname from, Cheesy.
Oh, I can answer that for you now. Are you hearing me?
Yes?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Hey, hello, young man. Nice to see you, man.
Yeah.
What happened, right? I used to play a lot of sports. I played cricket, football, basketball, table tennis, you name it, I played it. And because I played basketball in Skinner Park in those days, I mean, that's why I got the name Cheesy, because I didn't want to sing my own song, but I was pretty good. So, you know, Trinidadians, whenever you play a sport, they always name you after somebody who was very good in the past. So there was this guy called Cheesy Williams, who was a really, really, really good basketball player. So that is where I got the name Cheesy.
Very good.
Right. Yeah. And that was, I'm talking about around that same time, you know, 1963, you know, onwards. So that name stuck with me all the years I lived in Trinidad. Everybody knew me as Cheesy.
That's wonderful.
Right.
Okay. I always thought that, you know, that had to do more with the infectious smile that you always have.
Well,
One comment I want to make, you know, as we progress with the letters, we see a greater sense of intimacy. You know, I am not as old as Errol Cheesy here, you know. I'm maybe about 5 years younger. But in my time, if we get a letter and it says darling 3 times, boy, we up in the air. So I notice you have a lot of darlings there. So as I say, I'm noticing the letter getting more in with more intimacy. And one thing I want us to do is to comment on the writing. And in the writing style, and again, I go up and I talk about us older people, you know, who grew up with the English literature books.
yes.
And then on the other hand, too, with the Enid Blyton and them kind of thing as we're growing up, you know, you find that the style is like that. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Okay.
That's so true, because if I were to write this today as an author and present it to a writing club, they would tell me that the character is unbelievable. Because the quality of writing isn't how people speak today. And you can really tell the difference in the voice.
Yes,
True.
and I'm glad you mentioned quality, Gusha, because well, not a few years ago, I used to teach remedial English to some of these penal police youth club, and some of these girls who had done up to Form 5 and they were repeating, and my goodness, their writing was so bad. I wish they were like this. I just wanted to make a comment, and as we old people say, the education long time
And the
was of
lady
a
went to
higher
nap, son.
standard. Just saying, thanks.
You see, the lady went to nap, so she had a good education.
Yeah, well, she went to a good school, eh?
Yes.
But I just want to add one thing, particularly in this letter, you really get a sense of who she is. I mean, her character. I think that any woman could relate to her, when she says things like, I'll have to tell that woman to mind her own business, or just, I mean, she's spunky, and I mean, I'm enjoying all of this. So I wanted to add that.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead. We've reached halfway through our program. We're going to go ahead with...
Just before you all proceed, I must apologize for, you may have been hearing a phone ringing. That was my phone while I was reading, and it was disrupting me. So if I didn't read as good as I should, you know why.
No problem.
No, Shira, you read wonderfully. Thank you, though.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead with Krishna Samaru. He's going to be reading letter 5 for us.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So I just want to reinforce what Moti says. The sense of intimacy is unfolded. Is this chronological, I suppose, right, Errol?
Yes.
Yes.
Chronological. So you get the unfolding greater sense of intimacy. I reinforce that. The person writing the letters, signed Sue here, OG, is very articulate, and the language is very polished, as Diane you just mentioned. She's a NAPS graduate. She has great command of the language, and that by itself makes for interesting reading. And the fourth thing I would want to say about the letter, it's quite an exercise. She is presenting a lot of moods, and for each mood you have the tones that match with it. So like in this about the read, sometimes she's romantic, sometimes she's expressive, just saying something about herself. So she's trying to communicative. Sometimes she's just giving information, informative. Sometimes you get that she's hopeful, sometimes alarming, sometimes teasing, sometimes reassuring. And there are one or two times when she feels a little disgust. So
sometimes she's scolding, more scolding.
Yes, so you get moods, and you get the nice tones that match the moods. And this is Errol reading this, right? Nurse's House. So Errol reads it. So this is Errol reading. Oh, you want to hear this song? Okay, right. So Nurse's House, 20th of June, 68. In 68, I was in Form 1 in Belmont Boys Intermediate School. Nurse's House, 20th of June, 68. Hello, love. It was nice hearing from you again. And I'm glad that our April quarrel is all over. I knew you would be mad with me. But like you said, no love lost. I hope you really mean it, Errol. I hope so. Once more, I'm back on night duty. So you could imagine how rotten I'm feeling. I don't know how you felt when you just started shift work. I really hate night duty. Now, as the days are quite warm and sunny, and one can't really sleep as it's not always like this. Anyway, I still try to sleep, even though I just lay in my bed so that I could keep my eyes open during the night. The ward isn't heavy, so we have it easy for the time being. Uh, how, how are you getting on with your job? Any problems so far? I often wonder how we'll make out when we both will be on shift duty. I expect you to look after yourself while I'm not there, and I'll still see to the rest when I am around, which I think will be only fair. Don't you think? Oh, I have written to Toy again, but so far no reply. I'm still holding on and hoping to hear from her. Someone told me that she wants to return home. Let's hope she changes her mind. Did you not hear from her? Maybe you can ask her home folks. As you well know, we weren't really too close friends, so she hadn't much to tell me about you or whatever I wanted to know. Hey boy, for a moment I thought I was at home in Union when I went to a friend's party last Saturday. It was a Trinidadian fete, of course, but it was a scream who were there. Fellas like Harry, Gum, Cocord, and Alex's brother Papi. And boy, they were drunk. I was so mad when I saw the scruffy looking boys that I wanted to turn back. We stayed a short while, and I must say, relieved from such a crowd. I couldn't see myself dancing with those boys whom I didn't need to speak to. It's a fact. Anywhere you turn in London, there is a familiar face about. I think you have a right to choose Canada, but even so, across there is getting just the same. Anyhow, I'm still hoping to see that loving, familiar face I am longing to see one of these days. You mentioned that you don't get enough rest. Is it because of too many late nights at night work? Laugh. Well, we say now LOL, right? How's the sports life? Have you all started football? And how's the basketball coming on? It's really not bad traveling late hours across here because there are lots of people, good and bad, about. But I never travel alone. We often read and hear about missing persons, body traveling in suitcases and trains. So this is enough to scare anyone. Maybe you have already heard about the wedding which will soon be taking place at home. I wish it was me. But where's all my luck gone to? I wish I knew. I wonder who's next. Harold? Well, honey, I'm always on time for even the last train. So I hope I wouldn't have to sleep in the subway, darling. So don't you worry. I don't get drunk. I think I'll close now and try to go to sleep. So long, love. Yours always, Sue. P.S. Hope the family is fine. Say hello for me. Cheers. Thank you.
What a wonderful reading. Any comments?
That was
Thank you.
so well done, Krishna. That was really, really well done. I enjoyed. So far, I've enjoyed all the readings. I mean, the persons, I don't know if you chose to give them or if you chose the letters, they have come across so resounding, and so it makes me. I'm actually reading those letters that she wrote to me all those years ago. When they read it to me, when they read it now, I am just reliving those letters from all those years ago. Serious.
Yes, I can
Okay,
really
I just
Thank
want
you.
to I just want to say something here, for you, cheesy, I can't help calling you cheesy.
There's no problem. There's no problem.
But
Yes,
Krishna here is an English and literature teacher for many
Right.
years, very, very successful. And he's also one of Trinidad's better poets. He's a
Great.
really invaluable member of Poetry and Prose, and I really figure that, that the analysis that he gave, I'm sure
Yeah.
that you could relate to it.
Of
So I want
course,
to
of
say
course.
thanks again, Krishna. And
Yeah.
coming up again, the other reader is also a secondary school English and literature teacher. He's more nearer to your age, Errol. So
Yes.
let us move on to Vishnu Gosain, who would read the next
Thanks.
next letter, unless anybody have any other comment.
Well, Vishnu, last year in your Christmas dinner up at Chagona's, in fact, he texted me and he said, Errol, I think I remember you now from Mark Bean, because I think Vishnu lives somewhere down in that area. My children, he said he knew them. So it was very, very nice. And I'm so happy that he's going to read the next letter. Thanks, Vishnu.
Actually, my daughter and Jason were in the same class at Macpin Hindu School.
Correct. Right. Yeah. Joel.
Joel, okay, one of them.
Yeah, Joel. Yeah, that was Joel. Yes, yes, correct.
I'm trying to get my thing going on.
Yeah, is that your now? But no voice.
Vishnu, you have to unmute.
Vishnu, unmute. Vish.
Right, fine.
Right.
This was written in 1968. And okay, when I come to that below, I'll tell you about that one. 31st October 1968. Hello, love. How are you? I guess you're not too glad to be back so quickly. Well, I do hope you had a really memorable holiday and maybe looking forward to another. Things are certainly back to normal again after receiving all your heartwarming letters, which arrived one after the other. And I hope that you wouldn't be annoyed for not replying immediately because of your absence from home. I do hope, though, that at least one of my letters reach you on time when you return so that you wouldn't be in suspense like before. Honey, it was rather nice and thoughtful of you to drop me a line from Caracas. I did appreciate it very much. Sorry for not replying, as I wasn't sure you would be at the hotel all the time or at your relative. Darling, it's nice to have all the good wishes from your relatives, but it makes me feel a bit guilty saying that I can't say the same about mine. Honey, I hope it wouldn't matter, as all I'm concerned with is I love you and always will, and no one can stop that. Thanks for the lovely card. And hope you didn't hold on to Mohan while driving across on the cable cars. Rather kind of you to invite me. Wish I could have made it right away. I'd be most willing to join you. I didn't think that things were so expensive. I guess it doesn't always happen so you all didn't mind. Someday, sweetheart, I'll come for the souvenirs you brought back. I suppose Mohan should be rather grateful to you for such a wonderful and memorable holiday. It's a pity Gentle couldn't make it. Maybe you can fulfill your wish of going to Barbados on your next holiday. I guess you may have received my letter informing you of the records I sent with a friend of mine. It was so quick on short notice that I simply rushed off and bought any two which I got my hands on. The one I wanted wasn't available at the moment. What I'm scared of is that Mohan not there to collect them, and I'm sure the folks would want to know who they are. I do hope Mohan uses his head and that it wouldn't create a problem for you. Do let me know. Up to now, Mohan hasn't told me that he was going on holiday with you. All he said was that he might try and visit me sometime. I was hoping that Mohan would collect things from the girl, but she insisted on taking them home herself. I didn't mind, yet I'm hoping everything will be fine. Well, the weather is not very bad these days, surprisingly quite warm. If only it could remain this way, it would be fine. Unfortunately, I'm still at the nurse's home, as we, my friend and I, thought it best to remain here until summertime, as it would be a bit difficult for heating and maybe we will feel colder. About my photographs, well, it was a last-minute decision, as I wanted you to see what my old room was like. As you can see, most of the things were already cleared up, and these pictures on the table were certainly my boyfriend's. Errol, of course. I think to hire a good photographer sometime. Darling, like you, I am lonely and longing to go all the wonderful moments with you. You know, it's hard to write on paper what I feel in my heart. I would like to try, as I will really go out of bounds. I did see The Graduate, which I found quite well. Mrs. Robinson, the song was quite popular on Top of the Pops here at one time. Was it at home as well? I also saw Far from the Madding Crowd and Sound of Music twice. It's been so long been to a party or dance that I even forgot the little I know. Do tell John thanks for his best wishes, but if he could send for me, I would be most happy. Probably have a double wedding. Would you mind? Sweetheart, I do hope everything will work out fine for us in the near future. Say hello to all the others, Simi, hoping that you had a smashing time and you didn't miss me so much. But, thank you. I'm finished. Hello?
I see little hints here and there in different letters of dropping hints for the wedding.
Yes.
I have a friend in Florida who said that my aunt was way before her time in telling him what she wanted, because right now she has two sons, and she wished that his girlfriend would propose to him because he's taking long to do the proposal. So I said, well, get the book and let her read it. I know that this is in the 60s, and she was brave enough to tell him what she wanted. She said, but none of them are making a move. So she thinks it's a book that could inspire young people to tell people what you want, because each one is waiting on the other, and nothing is happening.
And she's not proposing, huh? She's just saying, with a double wedding. It's like the second letter. Her little hints are dropped.
A double wedding.
One of the interesting things that she mentioned in that letter was a film, Far from the Madding Crowd.
That's a great movie. That's a great movie.
It's a great movie indeed. Yes, with Julie Christie and the gang.
Yes, correct. Julie Christie. Yeah.
Yes.
I saw it a few times. Well, in fact, I did that book for literature in college.
Yes, I think I read that. I read that when I was 21 years old.
It's a moving love story too, yeah?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
The film really captured it also.
Exactly. And being a soldier and all this sort of thing,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Oh, I saw it. All those movies she mentioned, I saw them. I used to go and see them.
But I also want to add that she's also in England, I mean, away from Trinidad, and also what was going on with women, in the 60s and how women were so empowered at that time. And even though she's not saying it in the letters, but it's the attitude. You definitely am getting it. I'm getting that
Yeah.
attitude from her. That's what I'm saying is I'm just loving this woman's voice. So I'm so enjoying her. Thanks.
Thank you.
I think that's why I
I
think
loved-
the film too, because the Farm of the Madding Crowd is about a very headstrong woman.
Correct. That's
And
right.
of course,
Yeah.
and your love sounds as if someone definitely has a mind of her own.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
All right, then we're gonna go ahead to the next reader. And the next person reading, this is the person that made all of this happen today. He sent out the work to be read, and he also introduced us to Mr. Harold Wildman. So Mutilal will be reading for us, and he
you,
will be
Gusha.
reading letter 7.
Thank you, Gusha. Errol was talking about Far from the Madden Crowd. That's one of my favorite book. And then if we go a little further and we do the Mayor of Casterbridge, my God, Woodlanders and on and on and on. Every now and again, I go on YouTube and I watch Far from the Madden Crowd again.
Correct. Yes.
I wonder if Errol was Farmer Oak or Sergeant Troy.
Well, I always thought I was sure.
Okay, before
Okay,
you
so,
start, Thomas Hardy also was a great poet, and he has one of his poems that has struck me over the years. He wrote about the sinking of the Titanic.
Yes.
Extraordinary because he tells it from the point of view of the iceberg.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. I would have to look for that.
Yes.
This letter that I'm going to read, this is 29 December 1968. And hello, Seamus, the intimacy is growing. Imagine the first greeting. Hi, darling Errol. So we definitely see, as Krishna pointed out, the intimacy growing. Anyway, hi, darling Errol. New Year's greetings to you. I'm glad to hear that you did get my card on time, as else I would have been rather disappointed. I hope it helped in some way to make your Christmas an enjoyable one. Wish I could have done the same, like get drunk. I did have a few martinis, but nothing strong. Even though it was a white Christmas again this year, I didn't really enjoy myself. Only yesterday, I visited my relatives across here, and they say how disappointed they were that they did not see me. I work 1 to 9 p.m. on both Christmas and Boxing Days, but I am off for the 1st of January. Most likely, I'll be going to the hospital dance or spend the early part of the day with my cousin and some friends in Southeast London. I know you'll be disappointed in not receiving a photograph, but you have to blame the camera. The flash doesn't work properly, and I wanted a roll of colored film. Anyway, we did take some with a friend's camera, and you will have one in the near future. The grounds are still covered over beautifully with snow. Wish you could be here to see and keep me warm, especially at this time. Maybe we could go skiing together. I was hoping that you and Mohan would take a trip in '69 on one of the excursions trips. I'm still unsettled at the moment, but I'm still considering your suggestion about taking a trip home. It may not be possible for me to get a job home with only 2 years training. For the most, I was hoping to be away for 2 years. for 2 more years. I do hope it will be better for both of us. It's nice to hear that you had an enjoyable Christmas, boy. I would have liked to see you drunk. You didn't get on too badly, I hope. Congratulations on your nomination as Sportsman of the Year. One thing though, I would like to know who was that substitute you spoke about? Is she the one who's keeping you back? As you said, the chances are slim. Don't be afraid. Tell me. I will understand. I just had a feeling that the catalogs must have gone astray. It is a pity because you wouldn't get the sports jacket you wanted. I myself get depressed when I do not receive letters from you. But it is the mix-up in the mails. I'm dying to know if you all heard the greetings. I also wanted to know if my folks heard it too. Have you had the chance to speak with Lena? She hasn't written to me, but I am longing to hear the news from home. Honey, please do not get or think funny things about me when you do not hear from me. I am the same old Ogie you haven't seen for 2 years. I myself get depressed, especially at this time of the year, but I still have to make the most of things. I love you the same and honestly wish you with me, and I mean it. I hear that Angela Duku is up here as well, but somewhere in the country. I'd like to drop her a line, but I haven't the address. When did you last hear from Hyacinth? I sent her a card and a letter, but she only sent a card back. Well, how are your folks? Do give them my regards and all the good wishes for a new year. How's Gail? Has she gone to Venezuela as yet? Say a special hello to John for me, and also Boy. It is so cold and freezing, but I don't feel to get up on mornings, especially to go to work. What is it like at home? Honey, do enjoy yourself, but do not overdo it. I miss you all the time. Maybe if you pray hard enough, we shall meet in 69. By the way, did you go to church? I hope you did. Until I hear from you, love, God bless. Your Sue Uji always. Thank you. You know,
Thank you, Moti.
I wanted to comment on 1 or 2 things here in this letter.
The way you spoke, I thought she had written a letter to you.
Anyway, boy, I did have a friend in England in the early 70s, who used to write. So, talking about the thing, but when she talk about I know that the 2 years is SEN, state enrolled nurse,
That's
and
correct.
4 years is SRN. I know
Yes.
about that.
Yeah.
And I also see a hint there, but did you get the greetings? And if I remember well, that around Christmas time, we had a program called Open House. Old people go know about that.
Yes.
And we used to have Dave Elcock, and you used to get your greetings coming from England and overseas and all that. So I was wondering if that is what she was talking about.
But believe it or not, she was one of the lucky nurses who were able to send greetings via the air, and there was a day and a time. Unfortunately, I didn't hear it, but apparently quite a few people in the village heard it. I mean, I didn't want to talk about it, but her mom wasn't very pleased. That's what she had said in the greetings. But, it's all water under the bridge now, It's all water under the bridge. Yeah, but she did send the greetings to me, and said all these lovely things and whatever. I was when I was told that, I was very, very happy, I missed it by about 5 minutes.
Okay, can you remember the song that was played?
No. It was mostly greetings. It were greetings that people from London were sending to the people in Trinidad.
Okay, because I know they have this open house program on 610 radio.
Right.
Those days we only had 2 FM stations.
That's
and in
correct.
the open house programs, there used to be around Christmas time a
Yeah.
special session for greetings from overseas.
Right.
They would play this a special song. So I was just
Yeah, but
wondering.
I wouldn't have heard the song. No, I didn't. I wouldn't have. Unfortunately.
Okay, Chizzy, well, thanks again for giving me the opportunity to read these letters. And as I say, every now and again, I'm always going back. I have a book here. I'm always going back and looking at these things because it reminds me of certain parts of my life. Thanks again.
Of course. But I think, and this is why I wanted for people to read the book and for as many people to read the book, because I am showing somewhere along the line, somewhere in the book, everyone on Poetry and Prose can relate to some part of the book. I'm almost sure that people, especially on Poetry and Prose, may be able to, compare some part of the book to them, to their personal lifestyle.
Okay, thank you. I think our next reader is our host herself, Gusha. Gusha, would you take the floor?
No problem, but I believe Cassie's before me. I don't know
Yeah,
if the letters are in order, so I don't want to mess up the order.
Cassie's on the 3rd of March.
Okay, all right. So yes, it's Cassie. Thank you. Okay, come in, Cassie. Yes.
Yeah, okay, so good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. We're hearing you loud and clear.
Yes. Mr. Cheesy.
Yeah,
right.
Mr.
So
Cheesy, I love that.
Yeah. I'm very happy to be associated with this program today in view of the high level of literature that is being shown in the letter writing. And I won't go over all the very positive, illuminating comments that have been said before. Okay, I think they have been well said, and we all understand where we are coming from in the reading, in understanding the writing, in understanding the character, language, and so on. So this letter that I'm about to read is exactly 55 years old today, having been written on March the 3rd, 1969.
Yes.
In it, there's also reference to a card that was sent on 13 February, which this year was both Ash Wednesday and Valentine's Day.
Right.
So we have a nice situation going there. I think Arlene referred to, I don't know if I have the word correctly, but anyway, something like the boldness of OG's character at the time, in those years, and if I remember correctly, in England, that was around the time when there was like the burning of the bra.
Yes.
Women were burning the bra.
Correct. I can't remember exact year, but it was in the 60s, yes.
Yeah, in the late 60s, actually. And I'm sure that that activity would not have been lost on OG, especially as a Trini. So, so when you said we will all have something to relate to, I could relate to that. Because I have a friend who was involved in that activity also. So OG's letter reads, Nurses Home, March 3rd, 1969. Oh, before I go on, I must say that I'm thankful to be reminded of the word pullover. I've heard that word for a long time.
Right.
And, having heard it now, brings back very good memories. And I don't know if the type of watch was mentioned, but it might it have been a Timex or something like that,
Yeah,
I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
It could have been, yeah. And then I think it's in this letter, in this letter she uses psychedelic Well, I'll come to that somewhere along in this letter. Psychedelic, which reminds me of, I think it's Earth, Wind, and Fire with the psychedelic shack.
Oh, yes,
Which
yes,
was probably very popular around that time.
True.
Okay, yeah, so here goes. Nurses Home, March 3rd, 1969. Hello, love. As you can see, I'm always behind time, still writing February. Well, first of all, I must say you look just great in that photograph. Real smashing and keeping up with the latest trends. One thing though, you should have sent the whole psychedelic picture. I really love it. As for me, I'm still my usual old-fashioned self, and not so much with the in-scene. I did receive your card on the 13th February, but I went down by Lena for the weekend. So I didn't, sorry?
No, it's okay.
Okay, for the weekend, so I didn't read it properly. Honey, it's real beautiful, and the words marvelous. I have never seen one like this before. My only regret is these species are not as splendid as they should be since we are not together. If we were together, I am sure we would be in a heaven of our own. Thanks for also thinking of me in such a special way. I am glad to hear your psychedelic party was a success. Sounds real groovy. Just hate myself for all that I'm missing. Maybe there are better days for us. Just last night, the orderly, a 50-year-old Irish woman, read my palm, and I was astonished to hear some of the true things she said. I wasn't pleased to hear her say that I will have to do some traveling before settling down with someone overseas, and I will have a large family. I may also change my profession. Housewife. Sounds good. Laugh. I was wondering whether you got the things because the woman returned yesterday, I think. Mohan wrote telling me that everything was all right. The aftershave was really meant to be a novelty because of the container. I think you had better save it for me, like you said, as I won't like any other to share such happiness with you. Laugh. Did you really like the jersey? I know there are better ones at home. Over here, there are more long sleeves and it's too warm for home. The colored and striped ones are too dreadful. Have you posted any of the carnival papers? Well, I'd love to have them if possible. I haven't read news from home for a long time now. It's hard to hear of Harold's father's death, but these things happen. I hope you are keeping your head on and not drinking too much, especially when you are behind the wheel. How's John getting on with his playboy life? He's sure right to enjoy life. I don't blame him. About the beard you intend growing, well, have a go and see how you look. So sorry I'm not around to give my personal opinion. Have you tried the Yardley aftershave powder? Some of my male patients find it quite helpful. Doesn't an electric razor help? If I'm not mistaken, I thought you had one. I do hope you are feeling better by now, as you may have received my letter by now. By the time you receive this one, I will be on day duty again, as my night duty comes around every 3 weeks, which means I may be on night duty again around the 24th to 30th March. I'm hoping we could arrange a phone call maybe next month. Do give me your opinion and send me your number again. Mine is 01-272-1694. How are your folks? Hope they are keeping fine. Do give them my regards and best wishes to Gail when next you see her. Darling, it's wonderful to know that you still love me, and I care for you always. I will close now with all my love and longing for you. Yours, Sue.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Cassie.
You're welcome.
Very
You're
much,
welcome.
very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. You know.
My pleasure to read, man. I really enjoy reading.
Thank you. The psychedelic party, believe it or not, around that time, I mean, I worked at FedCam, I worked shift. Believe it or not, most of the guys, I use the colloquial word called line. The guys that used to line it were about 5 to 7 years older than me. But being part of a shift worker, after 4 to 12, we go and take some drinks. You know, after you work at 12 to 8 shift, you go and take some drinks. But then again, playing a lot of sports, I also like my parties. So that year, in 69, in 68, I decided in 69, I wanted to have that, and you're right, psychedelic, because, the colors, all the wrong circles and all these fancy different colors. And I did have a party in the community center at home. They gave me permission, and it was really nice. It was really, really good. It was really, I enjoyed the time. So she was just mentioning that to me,
Yeah, good stuff, man.
Yes, yes.
That was a really nice era, in Trinidad, with all the pop songs coming through. And it's just prior to 1972 with the Black Power uprising.
Yes.
So, I remember that era very clearly. Yeah. So good
That's right.
Good times to have been alive. Yeah. Where was this? Where did you live, and where was the party held?
Okay. I grew up in Union Village, Claxton Bay.
Okay.
Do you have any idea about that area?
Well, I know where Claxton Bay is from.
Right. Okay.
Just a little way in. A little way in from not a little, no, it's a good way in from the highway.
Right,
and then
right.
I know it also from the main road.
Right.
Some other parts I passed there after yesterday.
Right. Yeah, we grew up there, in those days. It wasn't as now. I mean, everybody knew everybody in the village and so on. And those were great days. Those were great days. And it's a shame to say that you won't see those days again. And it's sad to say that, but it's true. I mean, people like us, we will soon wither away and go where we have to go. I mean, I go back to the village as often as I can. And when I see people just a few years younger than me, and no improvement, and I feel a bit sad. I feel a bit sad about that. But I never forgot. I have a problem. I have never forgotten where I came from. I never forgot my roots. I always go up in the village, and when people see me, they say, "Cheesy, so you always look for us." I say, "Yes. Why wouldn't I look for you guys?" I live in Cuba now.
Okay.
And life is how you make it,
Yeah, certainly.
Yes, yes.
And life is how you make it right now at this very moment, because I've been watching your face as the letters were being read, and I've been reading your reaction, reading your nostalgia, reading your joy, your happiness, a little sadness here and there. Yeah, so I could well imagine what it means to you to be able to have, to leave this legacy for the rest of us and the younger generation, because there's really, as I said at the beginning there, in terms of language, it's really top of the line language, you know what I mean? And if only we could have some of our young ones, even those who are leaving UE University there. Some aren't capable of this feat at all.
Right,
You know,
right.
I've witnessed that firsthand, and it's very disappointing that you're coming out of that level of education and, you know,
Sure.
can't really put a sentence together. You know, it's sad. But
Yeah.
that's where we are at, and thank goodness that you have a book that, you know, can be used in schools, and, you know, and
That's
maybe
right.
maybe love letter writing might come back in style. Woo! That's a
Who knows?
wish. That's a
Who
wish.
knows? Who knows? Who knows?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chief.
Thanks again. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And I am up next.
You are up next, are you?
I have my book right here.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes.
And this was written 14th June, 1969.
Good.
My darling Errol. Well, what a pleasant surprise. I still can't believe it was real. A dream come true. Something I had always wanted and looked forward to. At the moment, I just couldn't think of what to say. It was a surprise. Only a few minutes before I received the call, my friend and I were chatting in my room, and I said to her, I must write to you. And she was saying to me, what a nice guy you are, because everyone loves that half-sized photograph you sent. They are always telling me how lucky I was to have someone like you. Honey, I don't know how long it will be before we'll be together again, but I have no fear because my love is still meant to be all yours no matter what. And I'm trying every possible way to hurry back to you. I admire you sincerely for holding on for so long. I'm still being able to do so. Errol, I know when we do meet, I don't think we would be separated again. Sometimes I wish you had persuaded me not to leave, but I guess everything happens for the better. You know, when I read your last letter, where you mentioned that you told your mom about the ring, I was saying in my mind that I would tell you off for mentioning it to her, as I was only joking about the whole thing. But I guess it just doesn't matter anymore. It was nice hearing her voice as well. As I said, the weather was really warm and sunny, but it has changed a bit since then. It's not as hot and sunny like it was before. Thanks for the photograph. You do not look a bit slimmer somehow. One thing though, I prefer if you keep your hairstyle with the long sides that you had in the previous half-size photograph. Very classy. About the negligee, it did fit quite well. A bit big and long, but quite sexy. I do admire your taste. Well, I hope you are just thrilled as I am after hearing your voice so clear. I hope it didn't cost you too much. Luckily, I will not be doing night duty for some time, so I guess my dreams are slowly coming true. What was your night like? Pity you had to work. My friend's party wasn't very big as I thought it would be. It was just close friends and relatives. We still had an enjoyable time. Partying is so sad that it makes me feel like packing up and accompanying her home. Well, love, thanks ever so much for making it possible to hear your sweet, loving voice again. And maybe we could do so sometime again. Cheerio, love. Yours always, OG.
Well read, good.
So,
Nice.
I like
Got the voice.
thanks.
You got the voice.
Thanks. I concur with what Arlene said about her personality coming out. And one of the things that I like about this, and this is really history. This is you know, you're reading the book and you have to remind yourself, this isn't fiction. This is something that really happened. And these are real letters. And one of the things, you read the letter and then you there's so much that's said and then so much that's not said, you know, about her friend leaving and the party and what it was about. So it's really an accomplishment. It's nice to have this because so many people, these things end up in a box and we never see it. It's never shared, you know, and it's really a part of our culture. So thank you. Thanks for allowing me to read.
Grisha, thank you so much. Well, we have one more letter to read, but I just wanted to, I won't wait until the last letter is written. I'm going to say it now. You guys have read these letters, right? And what it still gets to me that, I mean, I would have written the same thing to her, right? I mean, exactly what she wrote, I would have written similar sentiments to her. And you will observe also, we actually used to quarrel when we were writing letters. And it's unbelievable what it was, you know. But that love that she had for me, from the time she went in 67 to now in 69, she writes along those same lines about love. And it was the same thing with me. Now, I wasn't a guy, I mean, I'm a young, handsome little Douglas guy. I used to go to parties, I used to dance, right? I mean, I had girlfriends. Don't get me wrong. But the point was that word love, that word love, that I'll try to explain when we finish this, and I'm going to read something for you guys. That word love, when I just could not love anybody else except her. I would have had many likes, you understand? But that love, I couldn't go to anybody else. I cannot, like, no, she's gone. I just can't move on with a companion that people call partners because I cannot love. I can't live with somebody I do not love. She's gone, right? And I cannot have a partner that I gave my love, and that is my problem. I gave my love to one person, so it's difficult now for me to get somebody, you know, as a partner or whatever, because I still won't be happy. So I just wanted to share those things. For 3 years I let the writing, and that love between us was always, always, always there, you know. I mean, every time I read these letters, it's like, it just happened. I mean, I read the letter, and to me, I'm talking to myself now. I'll have to write and tell other girl, I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. But these letters are all over 50 years old, you know. But I appreciate it very, very much that you all took the time and we were able to read the letters a more, you know, spread out to other people who have read them.
Yes.
You know? Thank you so much.
No, thank you for sharing. We're going to close off today with Arlene.
Yes.
And she's going to be reading our last letter.
Hello, everyone. I'm just enjoying this. My God. Letter number 10. 357 Ivy Dale Road, Peckham, London, Southeast 15, 10th December 69. Hello, love. I haven't yet moved out, but I would like you write at the above address as in future. Honestly, I don't like idea of staying with relatives, but I will be able to save some money, so I will give it a try. I'll be off for 2 weeks before starting on the 5th of January, 1970. Honey, I'm so happy to hear that you're better and back on your feet again. How I long to be back home again, you don't know. I really wished I was coming home this Christmas. You see, I wasn't sure of getting through at the hospital, so I didn't find out or book a seat on the chartered flight. And now I have got through, it's too late for Xmas flight, £120. And otherwise it will cost £201, which is beyond my reach. I know you'll be willing to help, but it's out of the question as I can't get the necessary time off. Unfortunately, my aunt doesn't have a phone and I'm not sure where I'll be for Xmas, either with my friends or family, I don't know. Maybe if I knew how you were working during the weekend on 12th December, I'll try still, even though my letter will be late. This is my last week at the Whittington Hospital. And I hate to have to leave because I don't know what I'll be going into. But perhaps I'll get used to it. You see, I signed up for 2 years practical nursing, which was silly of me, but one learns by their mistakes. So there's a lot to be learned, and I will still just have to cope and carry on for the next 2 years, I expect. Darling, you said you are not fed up, but I could well understand how you feel if only I hadn't left home, and I am sure things would have worked out despite objections from my folks. I know you would say it's all happening for the better, but I need you and long for your touch each and every day. I'm only wasting my life away. I do long for a miracle to happen. Oh no, I'm not going out of my mind yet. Still, I do sometimes. I was never charged extra for letters. Probably they were heavier than usual. Now I'm using these sheets because someone pinched the papers out of my writing pad when I took it on duty with me. I even lent out my pen and I'm forcing this one to last throughout. It will be nice of you all to have your mummy home for Christmas. I do hope she continues to get better. I bought a maxi coat, but there is no sun to take pictures, probably later on. We had snow twice already, and then 2 warm days, and then nasty, foggy, dark days. When it's 10 a.m., it looks like 10 p.m. You all are lucky out there. You all sure are lucky out there. I haven't posted any gifts because of the postman strike. It's now called off, but I'm afraid I'll send the gifts in the new year. I don't really feel in the Christmas mood. I have no zeal to go out and shop, but I have to make up my mind sooner and I would be left behind. Everyone complains that I don't write, but I have so many problems on my mind and I'm really depressed, even though I may not look it. Honey, I'm glad my card cheers you up a bit and you still love me. Wish I could be with you for always. So long, love. You'll hear from me again. Cheerio. Best wishes to all. Yours, Cindy. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a voice from the dead.
Yes, yes. After all those years, from January 67 to December 69, there were so many things in all those letters. But that love that she had always remained in the letters. It's amazing.
Errol, what I
saw. Oh, sorry, Alan. I was just going, before you go, I was just going to say, even when you sniff, you made a little sniffle while reading, and I say, yeah,
I have a cold.
You're really feeling that cold up there. You
Yes.
know, you're perfect, man. Perfect, Arlene. Well done.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes, yes.
I have a bit of a cold. But Errol, what I want to say, what I saw, well, first of all, I so enjoy her voice and what she's saying, right?
Yeah.
But I so identify with this because when my mother went away, came to America before and left us, you know, my sister's in Trinidad. And then we joined her later on in the 60s. But she died 5 years ago. And what happened was, as I was going through all of, she got a lot of letters. And as I was going through all of her stuff, I found letters that I wrote to her when I was in Trinidad that she kept. I mean, all of the letters, and I'm sort of sad that I don't find the letters that she wrote to me. I never kept those. So I so identify with this. It's just, thank you so much for sharing her with us, and also the love that you still feel for her. You know, it's so wonderful. That's really wonderful. Yeah.
No, I don't know if I have time, Mr. Mutilala, or
You certainly do. So I will spotlight you for you to share.
Do we have some time to
Yes, we do.
for me to read something I wrote?
Yes, we do.
Yes, sir.
Maybe
the saga continues.
If I have a chance of being able to write in the future. I got this idea from my good friend Mr. Mutila, right? And the heading of this is Of Puppy Love, Crushes, and Real Love. Puppy love, defined as an informal term for feelings of romantic love, often felt during childhood and early adolescence. It is an infatuation usually developed by someone's looks and attractiveness at first sight. Now, what I'm going to read is actually true. You know, it's the puppy love. As I remember, I never had feelings of puppy love, but did have two encounters with two lovely young ladies as follows. My first encounter with puppy love happened when I was 8.5 years old. The young girl was 1 year older than me, and every day I would have to pass by their home to and from school. One day she handed me a piece of paper on my way home, and when I opened it, the letters were written in all different colors. This was a complete surprise, but when I read the contents, I was the happiest young man that day. Unfortunately, I left the letter in my pants pocket. That evening, when my dad came home from work, I observed my mom showing my dad something, and they were laughing. On closer checking, I realized it was my personal letter, and at this time, I was really upset, started crying, and told them that they hadn't right to read my letter. I managed to get it away, and they told me they were happy reading my first love letter. Guess what? I took the letter and tore it up, to which I felt sad afterwards. Anyway, we grew up in the village, and when I started college, she saw me once or twice, and we had a good laugh about the letter. But at that time, we were going to different schools. Second one, my next encounter with puppy love, we were both going to the same school. Her dad came to Trinidad to work with the then TLL oil company. They lived on the main road in Pointe-à-Pierre. The first day she came to school, all the boys around my age were dumbstruck. She was a beautiful girl. I never really spoke to her much because I was a bit shy in those days. Then one Monday morning, one of my friends called out to me and said to me, if I had seen the girl whose name I wouldn't mention. So he said to me, come with him. I then followed him, and there she was with her friends and smiling. On the pocket of her blouse, she had printed what we call sweetheart grass. The words, I love Errol. I was over the moon, and I did not mind the jokes and the heckling I received then. Even the teachers were amused. Then when I started college in January 1958, Every day I passed by, I would look out for her until that puppy love faded. Liming, as we would call it during our lunch hour, we would walk down the high street to look at the young ladies and try to get their attention accordingly. I would see Uji with her friends, but there were no crush or any feelings as yet. At that time, there were quite a few private colleges opening up and life was good. I have had lots of crushes with young ladies while growing up, and it all began when I started working and going out to the house parties and then going out with my neighborhood friends to fetes. Mind you, at that time, my friends and lining partners were at least 5 years older than me. Looking at love, I would just like to mention a few famous couples who would have known what love is. Have you ever heard about Shah Jahan and Mumtaz Mahal? We have Mary and Pierre Curie. We have Johnny Cash and June Carter. You have Edward VIII and Wallace Simpson. What about Anthony and Cleopatra? And finally, Prince Albert of Sosa and Queen Victoria. Now, when it comes to love, some people would say it is one of the most important human emotions. Love is a set of emotions and behaviors characterized by intimacy, passion, and commitment. It involves care, closeness, protectiveness, attraction, affection, and trust. Many say it's not an emotion in the way we typically understand them, but an essential physiological drive. Do you know when I fell in love with her? When I was 15 and a half years old. That is going into 1962 for my 16th birthday. Here's this final story. One day, after school, while chatting with her before she took the taxi home, it just came out of nowhere that I loved her. Little did I know she was developing the same feelings around the same time. When she wrote me her first love letter on my 16th birthday, it confirmed that we loved each other dearly. I could add so much more, but I'll just let you guys know. That love that I had for my dear Uji, it was the real thing. Thank you so much for listening to me. I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing. True love truly exists. That's what this book says. True love in this world of jaded and ghosting, true love really exists. I'm going to open the floor for any last comments.
Well, I think, Gersha, this entire program has been an honorarium to that dear lady.
Correct.
It's done her really great honor throughout. It's really been quite extraordinary.
Thank you so much.
We'll add the name Uji and Errol to the last of the list. But now that we have the book, he'll add Uji and Errol Wallman.
So, Mr. Butilal, what do you think?
Boy, all I could say is, boy, you're so lucky.
Yes.
No, what I want to say,
I
mean, I was very, very surprised when you all chose me as the, author for the month, and I now realize what it's all about, what it hinges upon, and I'm so happy that you guys chose me, and I appreciate it very, very, very much. And like Motilal said, he's going to call me probably later or sometime, and we'll have a more intense chat on going forward.
Yes. What I want to tell you also that Tony has asked that we do something for my Trinidad, a review of the book. And
Yes.
Gersha here is working on that. So we should have that in the April My Trinidad edition.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So she has a copy and she is working on a review there and
Right.
talk about the love. As I
And
say,
if-
when I say that, you know, I say you're so lucky because in my own time, I have had love, heartbreaks, and so on. So
Right.
to find that early in your life, what I would say the everlasting love.
Yes.
Yes, Sarah, I've done well.
And what I could add here
Credit
now,
goes to both. Credit has to go to both you and OG.
well, yes, I agree. And what I could say here now is if anybody is interested in a copy of the book, you can always call me, and I have the books at home. You know, if anybody's interested and would like to get a copy, you know, so it wouldn't be a problem. You know, and the price will be reasonable. It wouldn't be not expensive.
Well, maybe you can pass a copy through to Motila, and he'll get it to me, and I'll give him the
No
the
problem.
Cassidy man living nearer to you than me, boy.
Where does he live? Cassie live?
in
Cassidy
Cuba,
live in Kunupie.
Oh, in
Cuba, I think.
Cuba. He's in Cuba. All right, okay.
Yeah.
You could
Well,
meet
then,
like
well,
just
then
like we
I'll
meet.
You can give him my phone number or email or anything like
Yeah.
that. No problem, Oti.
But if
Yes,
I don't
yes,
know if
we
you
will
want
do.
to give it now, if you could give me number now, I'll take it.
Yeah, you could put the number in the chat.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I'm gonna jump in.
I can
I'm
give my
gonna
number
jump in. I'm gonna jump in. Don't give your number now. I'm going to jump in. Allow me to close off, and then we can open the parking lot, and you can give them your number then.
That's
Everyone, if you'd like the book, it's also available on Amazon.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Wildman, thank you so much for being with us today. Diane, thank you so much for the insightful interview.
Yes.
And it really was a delight to get to know OG through her own letters and to see your love. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone, for attending Poetry and Prose today, and we will see you on the 17th.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.